Hey guys, Ryan here, obviously. Today, oh well, I guess, no, but today. I was gonna say, oh, don't need to start with today, because I do something I don't want to do, but it doesn't really matter, does it? Because whenever you watch it, it's gonna be today, it'll be in present day. Not like I'm saying the date when I start the video, so it's like, it doesn't matter. So, I'm gonna talk about overthinking, excessive thinking, if you will. Something I do a lot, like a hell of a lot. So wondering, I could hear birds chirping outside. It's really early. I was like, what the hell? Thought it was my phone or something. So yeah, overthinking. I overthink so much, like probably too much. Well, not even probably. I definitely overthink too much. I overthink about every tiny little thing, everything, and it's like it's very people directed. My form, I guess, because people will overthink about anything, so I can't really speak for other people's experiences. But in my own experience, it's very character driven. So in my head, I'll build up a character profile of people. I will go, oh, this person acts like this all the time, or usually, or this person acts like this because of this. So issues in their life that I might know they're going through, past times in their life, for example, people that don't grow up without father figures or things like that. You know, I build up these character profiles. I go, alright, so they don't have a father figure, or they haven't had a father figure in their life before, or for a long time. So they act this way because of that, and make somewhat assumptions, but more so they're based in. They are assumptions, but they're based in reality. It's not like I'm making an assumption without making some kind of link. I go, alright, this person does this. Like person A does this because X, Y, and Z happened to them, and that's why they treat person B like this, or me like this, or so and so. And then things change. Someone will not act the way that I'm expecting them to act in a meeting, or they might just do something, you know, it could be anything. It could be a tiny thing. The way they talk, the things that they say. If it's texting and like messaging, it's like, those messages are really short. That's not normal. They don't really use those words before. They don't seem interested in this conversation, or maybe they seem excessively interested, which isn't an issue, but it's things that I'll note. I'll make note of different behavioural patterns almost. Very psychoanalysis type of stuff, and I use all that data that I've collected to help me overthink. I go, alright, what's happening now? How are they going to act? What are they going to do next? And it's, I apologise after me messing with my hair. It's unnecessary, you know, I don't need to know this information, but I like to, and I know where it comes from. I've never been the tallest. I've always been extremely short. I've never been the strongest. I mean, you know, that answers that one. I've never been the fastest, or I don't have good hand-to-eye coordination, so I'm not like accurate or anything. But there's one thing I can be: smart, because everyone has a brain, and I always try my best to be smart. As a kid, especially, that's the one thing that I had is using my brain. So I used it a lot. A lot. Clearly not using it a lot now, but I used it a hell of a lot. I tried my best to use it as much as possible, because that's kind of, and again, you can see me doing psychoanalysis on myself, saying I wasn't this, I wasn't that. You know, if I was gonna go into such depth, I could tie it into why I think that I feel like I need to use my brain more, you know, based on my childhood. background and things, but it's not quite. And I do that in my head now, but I won't go on about it. But yeah, so I use my brain a lot, and it's left me to overthink about every tiny little detail. Every time somebody does something, and I've built this character profile of them in my head, and assume that they're gonna act in certain ways. So I can go, well, that's normal for that person to do, because even though they might not have ever done it, it might, when it happens, I go, well, that's normal. That makes sense because how they were raised, or because of their background that I know certain things about. So then, at that point, I mean, that's exactly the same as assumptions, but then I'm going really far in my overthinking, because we're talking about somebody. Look at it this way: we're talking about somebody not answering a text like 10 minutes, 20 minutes longer than they usually take to answer a text. Which again, my brain tends to just keep note of average, like an average time, you know. I go, oh well, usually takes them a few minutes, yeah, and I will go spot on most of the time because I like to. I don't like to, but it's just kind of how I do things. I just get so fucking caught up in these things, which is bad, and I need to stop that. But so they take 10-20 minutes extra to answer a text, and I go, what's up? Are they doing this? Are they working? Are they busy? Are they talking to somebody else? Could be talking to somebody else. Could be doing this. Could be talking to this person. I heard them. I heard they talked to this person kind of often. Probably not that person doing this, doing that. And my brain makes all these leaps. It goes through all of these different scenarios and tries to build up the one that makes the most sense based on the character that I've built in my head. And it'll lead to a situation where one or two things happen. One, I was right, which makes me seem like some kind of stalker or cheat, or just can tell the future because I immediately know. Whoa, how the hell did you know that? I didn't say anything. Or two, I look like an absolute crazy person, which is kind of usually the latter. But I won't say that I've never been wrong, or rather that I've never been right, because I have been right before. And people go, "Wow, that's crazy. How the hell do you know?" So it's not to say that overthinking is bad, because it does have benefits in certain ways, but has it ever benefited me? More like mentally and emotionally based on these factors. The fact that I'm going on and making all of these basically irrational, I mean I rationalize them in my head, but basically irrational leaps and bounds in thought to say, this person is doing this, and this. No, it's not. It hasn't, and that's not even that's only the start. That's person and like relationship related, friendship related, whatever. This doesn't even begin to go on about how I imagine, like how I overanalyze scenarios that I'm in, and things that have happened, and how I think that my future will end up based on small little minute issues. Like, when I play video games, I do a lot of thinking. I'm very good at thinking video games, or thinking about video games, as opposed to anything else, as opposed to actually playing, where my motor skills aren't as good. Glasses don't help, just because of, I mean, it's not like saying, oh, we're going, like, I wear glasses, so I can't see as well. Obviously, I wear the glasses to see better, but it's the sense of have small, I was gonna say ineptitudes, but I don't even think that's a word, first of all. And second, I'm pretty sure I made that word up. And second of all I mean is there's things that like kind of hold me back in little ways. I'm just not as good motor skills. I'm not great at hand-to-eye coordination. So what do? I think, because I can, and that's good, right? I can think in games, and it makes me smart for that. Can't turn it off though. Cannot turn it off outside every little thing. In a game of League, I go, we do this. What happens if we do this and we build this and this happens and where are we going? My brain's always looking for the path of not just least resistance, but the path that's going to take us to victory and do the right thing, and how we can achieve it. My brain does the same thing, in my real life, except instead of being how can we achieve, victory, because there's not really a victory in life, it analyzes the situations as they come. So, situation happens, it analyzes it. By the way I'm describing, you'd think that I'd never be in a problem because I'd always be out of it. And here's the thing, kind of beneficial, I'm not gonna lie. There's certain things that happen in my life where because I think so much, I can avoid certain troubles, and I can avoid making certain mistakes. However, I don't listen to my own brain most of the time, because I listen to my heart more than anything, which, not gonna lie, sometimes pretty fucking stupid. And on top of all of that, I have a very nihilist thought process a lot of the time. So rather than thinking about, it'll analyze all of these scenarios, but the first thing that comes to my mind is all of the bad ones, and rather than it's like, how do I avoid them? And my brain starts to try and think, but the problem is that they're there. So then I start to think of all of the terrible scenarios first, and it's not like, oh, this is a terrible scenario, I've got to avoid that. How do I do that? It's, oh, shit, that could happen, or this one could happen, or this one could happen. Well, which one of them seems the most likely? This one, the worst one. That one seems the most likely. Can we get out of that? Well, let's start figuring our way out of that. And realistically, I'm sitting there thinking, oh, well, I'm basically thinking, I'm prepping myself for the worst case scenario, right? Why? The worst case scenario is like, if the worst case scenario isn't in my head, I can be fine, I can calm down, but it's there, and then I make myself believe that it's real, and I go, that's the only possible answer, it's theoretically the only way, it's the most reasonable, so it's gonna happen. And then yeah, I'm trying to figure out my way out of it, and in some cases there's not ways out of it. Like, in fact, because it's real life, I don't have a lot of control. So there's not necessarily all these ways out of it. So what have I done? I've just convinced myself that I'm going to be in the worst case scenario, and I'm trying my best to find ways to fix it, and starting to realise that there's not all of these answers that I want, because it's not a video game, it's real life. And then I've just trapped myself in this bubble where I believe that every single time I'm faced with some kind of situation, it's gonna go into the worst case, and I need to figure out how to fix it before it happens, because it's gonna happen, and there's no avoiding it. It's coming. It's definitely gonna happen. I can't believe anything else. All of these other ones, they might be like half as bad, but it's always gonna be bad, because I always think for the bad ones, and how I'm gonna work my way through it, and if I even can. And that's just so much unnecessary worrying and unnecessary thinking, because I'm not even there yet, and when I am there, let's pretend that it does go to the worst case scenario. There's usually going to be things, there's a lot more reasonable, when you reach that point, first of all, a lot more reasonable thought. Second of all, life isn't as black and white as your brain will make it out to be. Things can just happen. You can just talk, and if it's with a person, for example, you can't just talk and say things to people and try to change scenarios. People can, you can sit down and talk and stuff, and obviously it's not always the case. There is going to be things that are going to be slightly fucked, and you're just going to have to learn to deal with them. But if they're going to happen, they're going to happen, and it's unavoidable. So don't put yourself in some kind of, don't feel like you need to put yourself in a driver's seat of an airplane. And that sounds crazy, but what I mean is, you don't know how to fly an airplane, first of all. Second of all, airplanes don't have driver's seats, they have cockpits. If that makes sense, it's kind of dumb. Apologies, scratching my nose, I'm not great with the metaphors, but you don't have control of everything, especially in real life. You don't have control of everything, so just calm down, just let it happen. If it was gonna happen, it's gonna happen. It's too late now. Don't think about the things that happened before that on the lead up. It's too late. And yeah, basically, in short, what I'm trying to say is, I need to stop overthinking. Everybody who does should. It does have its benefits. It's got its place. It's useful, in my opinion. I think having an active mind and somebody who overthinks a lot, if you can adapt it to the right scenarios and if you can put it in the right place, like channel it in the right ways, use it in the right places, that's good. But otherwise, just turn it off. And it's hard. It's hard to turn it off. But there is one thing that is not hard to do, and that is just not think. And I think that's overrated and not overrated, but overstated rather. How people go, oh, it's really hard to not think. No, it's not. And I'll show you right now. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna sit down. We're gonna take 10 seconds. And I'm gonna go from now to now. I didn't think a single thought there. And you can go, oh, well, no, you didn't, but oh, you totally must have thought something. No, just completely blank. And I'm not forcing it. I'm not sitting in my mind going, don't think. You just be still and just kind of empty your mind. And it's really easy. You can practice just. It's the setup to it. The setup is, you go, okay, I'm not gonna think, and then you just. It's like holding your breath in your mind. Is how I practice. Is how I think about it. So, again, I'll do 5 seconds. As now. Now, alright. So, sometimes I even hold my breath when I'm doing it. That's kind of how I've thought about it. Give it a bit of practice. There can be 1 or 2 thoughts that creep in the thoughts of, like there where I was counting, like I had to count 5 and I'm staring at the little timer on the phone for 5 rather than trying to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm just trying to block and just let my mind be empty. For a little bit, just let it be empty so that I can be just calm down, bring all the levels down, and start thinking rationally and not overthinking, overworrying myself. And that's what I need to start doing a lot more, because overthinking it's affected me negatively more than it's ever benefited me. And I'm very displeased with my own lack of control in overthinking, because I think it's ruined a lot of my happiness. So I'm gonna try and fix that, and I hope that I can just be happy with thinking less. And there's nothing wrong with thinking. Thinking is great, but there's a place for everything, and overthinking, there's there's too much of anything. You can have too much of a good thing, you can have too much of anything. Too much thinking is just as bad as too much drinking or whatever. Too much, I was gonna say candy, but not really quite the effect, because too much candy doesn't affect you that bad other than feeling stomach sick and maybe getting a little bit fat, but who cares about being fat? Nothing wrong with being fat. Anyway, my side tangents and stuff all gone. So other than that, I think that's all I wanted to talk about. I just hope that anybody else can take a bit away from this, and anybody else who overthinks can maybe benefit from the small practice that I've suggested, and hopefully it can help anyone. It's the same thing as when people go, oh, just breathe in, like take deep breaths and count to 10 when you're angry. It's kind of the same thought process there, is empty your mind, but don't just empty your mind, like, don't just empty your mind for a little bit. Like, I mean, really try and hold it. Like, if you're overthinking a lot in a scenario, you try and hold that like emptiness for like a good while. I don't really want to say how long because it can differ, but let's just pretend that it's in 30 seconds. 30 seconds, a minute or something, where you just empty the mind and just try and keep that state of, you'll be aware, you want to be present, you just don't want to have all these thoughts of the future or even the past. You just want to think about the now and right now. And I mean the second that you're in, not like the day. You just want to be in the seconds that you live in and just relax. And if you can keep that state of mind the entire time, every scenario that comes up, every situation that you're in, you'll be a lot more chill, and hopefully that kind of relaxed form can help you think either more positively or just more rationally to help solve whatever situation you're in. It might not. I don't know. I'm not a genius. I don't know all the answers to these things. I'm just trying to figure it out as I go. Hopefully I'll give this a try and it might help. Anyway, hope everyone's had a lovely day. That's watching this, or having a lovely day. If you're watching it halfway through your day. If not, I apologise. I hope it gets better. Chin up or all that. Not great advice, but genuinely hope people are having a nice time. And remember, it's never goodbye. It's see you later. I'll mess that up.